too tricky for you?
Should be right. It's my own fault for getting my table. Hey, how are you?
Interesting setup.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to improvise, right? So,
Yeah.
normally I have my little trestle table and everything set up, but no, I decided to leave that at home for some reason, so just got the car and off I went.
That's right. No elevator platform.
No,
How do you see
it's been about 5 years since I've done a call from pitch level, so a bit of an adjustment, but just got to work with what you got sometimes. So.
Yeah. Hopefully, we don't get too many people standing around.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thankful it's not like up at Newcastle where they've got the scissor lift, which sways about in the wind and you're totally exposed.
That doesn't sound safe.
Yeah, those had some times up there. Yeah. Nervy moments. But
Well, have fun today.
thanks so much. Will do. Thank you.
A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Moorebank here at Ernie Smith Reserve. The regular season is done and dusted, and 180 minutes of football to see what the shake-up, what the make-up of the top flight will be for season 2026. It is leg one of the promotion relegation playoff here in Moorebank on a gorgeous spring afternoon. It is the Southern District Raiders playing host to the Central Coast Mariners Academy. Pete Pryor with you this afternoon to take you through all the action for this first leg. Absolute pleasure to have your company, as it always is, wherever it is in the world you may be tuning in from. The team news is in for both sides and a bit of it to get through. 3 changes all told for the Southern District Rangers this afternoon. Out drop McHugh, Malfara and Sabatu. James Letter will come in wearing the number 8 jersey. Their full lineup as follows. In goal, of course, Michael Figueroa. The 4, Cooper Hannigan. 7, Mihail Marcic. 8, James Letter. 12, Lockie McGrath. 15, Matthew Lee. 18, Charlie Ragg. 19, Riley Cox-Barlow. 42, Lockie Everett. 47, former Mariner himself, Ethan Bevan. And 99, mid-season signing, Luka Knezovic. Well, big news for the Central Coast Mariners here today for this first leg of the playoff as well. Lucas Villela able to draw on some of those with A-League experience, including the likes of Arthur DeLima, Hayne Eames and Bailey Brantman, all involved from the start as the whistle blows and away we go here at Ernie Smith. The Mariners kicking from left to right on your screen, and here is DeLima, and now it's Brantman, those two scholars linking up early. We'll take you through the full Mariners lineup as soon as we get the opportunity to do so. We expect this one to be a full throttle affair. As Letter sends it forward, and we'll use the opportunity to take you through the full Mariners starting 11. In goal, of course, number 40, Joel Wade. The 3 and captain, Michael Paragali. The 8, Hayne Eames. 10, Arthur DeLima. 11, Jai Rose. 22, Shumba Mutakoyi. 23, Lawrence Taylor. 35, Max Miller. 37, Bailey Brantman. 38, Harry Jablonski. And 39, Harper Riles. Here's Miller. And DeLima. And Brantman, those two combining once again early here. Brantman looks to sweep it in. It's repelled from the edge of the 18 and sent clear with interest. Michael Paragali will nod it back over halfway, only temporarily though. He's got some more defending to do. He's got Knezovic over his shoulder here, Paragali. He just gets body position and we'll watch it into touch. Under the close attention of former Wanderer, Luka Knezovic. He has already played against the Central Coast Mariners once this season in his former side's colours for the Wanderers at Wanderers Football Park. That one finished 2-2. He's found a new home here in Moorebank. Here's Marcic. Sweeps it wide. It's Hannigan one-on-one with Jablonski, and Jablonski's done ever so well. Hannigan just running out of room on the byline, and into touch it goes. Or over the byline it goes, I should say. Just a goal kick to show for it. Here's Paragali. Driving one forward, showing off his expansive range of passing. It's Letter who rises to meet it, and it's DeLima who picks it back up. Weaving, and now here's Eames. Little triangles forming early here on this near touchline for the Central Coast. Miller involved as well before DeLima a little too involved, drawing the ire of the referee. Well, the Raiders come into this off the back of an absolutely outstanding run of form. Of course, they've won their last 7 back-to-back, have the Raiders, undefeated in their last 9. As it's hoisted in long towards Lee. Mutakui paying him close attention. It's still Matthew Lee who clips it in towards the back post. Charlie Ragg did well to bring it down initially, but couldn't quite get it out from under his feet. It gave Max Miller the opportunity to steal across and thump it behind. First corner of the afternoon here at Ernie Smith. Well, not behind, in fact, into touch. Our vantage point was a little blocked. Another Raiders throw in now. It's Letta. They'll just go back and recycle. McGrath helps it on to the former Mariner, Bevan. Bit of a heavy touch, though, from Marcic. Handing it back to the Mariners by way of throw-in. Taylor. His route back was blocked off by Cox Barlow, but they do manage to dig it out and back to Wade. Confidence from Paragali just skipping around the challenge there, but he's turned it over cheaply to Lee. And then Cox Barlow will play it wide. Still coming here, the Raiders, through Hannigan, who draws a sharp low save out of Wade at his near post and behind. This time for the first corner of the afternoon. Well, they've been lively in the opening 5 or so minutes. Have the Raiders looking to seize on the opportunity against the Mariners side who were, by their own admission, very flat last week. Outswinging corner is flicked on by Marcic, who draws a save at full stretch from Joel Wade. Gets a good, strong right paw to it there as Joel Wade tips it over the crossbar. That was destined for the back of the net from Marcic, but for a very good piece of goalkeeping. In comes the second corner. This time, De Lima able to nod it clear, and Knezovic has just about sent that one all the way back down to Canberra. Just a wild swing of the right boot from Luka Knezovic there. Hopeful more than anything, perhaps. Sometimes they hit the corner flag and sometimes they go in. This was perhaps not a case of the latter. And again, it's Cox Barlow giving Mutakoi something to think about. Good little slide rule pass here for Marcic, who's marshalled all the way back to the byline. Dry Rose it is who steals in to win it off the toe and then has his legs taken away by Hannigan. We spoke about the Raiders' absolutely fantastic run of form in the back end of the season. Of course, they took it all the way to the last day of the season, pushing University of New South Wales all the way for that automatic promotion spot. In the end, falling just a point short, which sees them in this playoff today against the Mariners, who of course finished second bottom of the NPL men's. Again, that was on the final day themselves with that flat sort of performance against fellow academy side, the Wanderers. Here's De Lima looking to give Rose something to get after in the channel. Watched all the way behind by Hannigan again. The Mariners themselves had a bit of a mixed bag of form really in the back end of the season. It was a really horror sort of opening 20 or so rounds, losing 14 of their opening 20 encounters. But a half-decent run home saw them taste defeat to fellow academy sides, though, the Wanderers and Sydney FC. But they did manage to take some impressive scalps along the way, the likes of Marconi and Sydney United. Handy points as well against Rockdale and Sutherland in the mix as De Lima nods it forwards. Well retrieved, and now it's Ragg with acres of space to drive into on this near touch line. Clipped in towards the penalty spots, and Paragali gets his foot to it first. De Lima. Here's Taylor. Mucic just slipped while attempting to press Lawrence Taylor there. The Mariners now happy to just try and stroke a couple of passes together. They haven't seen too much of the ball in the opening 9 or so minutes here at Ernie Smith. Paragali again under a great deal of pressure from Cox Barlow, able to wriggle free. Now it's Mutakoyi. Well, the ball forward was kind of between Rose and Riles. In the end, finding neither. Brantman smartly letting that run. Football IQ on display. It's Miller now. Brantman again, busy and buzzing around everywhere, as he so often does. Here is Eames. Just back on halfway, they'll go and reload here. Mutakui helps it on to Paragali, and now Brantman on this near touch line. Sustained spell of possession here for the Central Coast. Brantman it is again. Looking to isolate Knezovic. Shifting back onto his favoured left and whips in the cross. Bevan across. Gets his head to it first, and the Mariners will have their first corner of the afternoon here. Well, it's been a little while since these two sides last met, of course. Back in 2022 in the Football New South Wales League One competition. They have faced off 5 times in total over the last 5 years or so. As the corner is swung in by Jablonski right on top of Figueira, who gets a good strong fist to it, and Bevan helps it clear towards Rag. It's Miller across there first though for the Central Coast. They have been typically slow starters this season, have the Central Coast Mariners. Seemingly at times taking their time to feel their way into the contest. That's smart defending once again from Jablonski. Quick throw in taken though by Rag. In the direction of Cox Barlow, but again it's Paragali across first. Swings the big right boot at it and hooks it into touch. It's McGrath. Forced back under the press of Riles to Figueira. Near touchline now is Rag. Good first touch to take it out from under his feet immediately as well. Everett will have the pass back from Knezovic before he is hauled down, or has his legs taken away rather there by Lawrence Taylor. And a fairly intriguing sort of position this for the Raiders to work an angle. Started the brighter of the two sides, of course. Joel Wade's been called into action a couple of times already. I wonder, perhaps, if Knezovic is thinking about going directly for goal here. 3 to the wall for the Central Coast. Knezovic does strike directly for goal, but that's fairly regulation for Wade. He really cemented that number 1 spot for the Central Coast in the back half of the season. De Lima rising, but rising above him is Rag. Good touch from Everett. Creates a couple of yards of space, and now Mucic has stolen a march on Jablonski. Gets the cross in, straight into the palms of Joel Wade. A number of impressive performances in the back third of the season, of course, from the Mariners gloveman. Was a key pass of the 3 points that the Mariners pilfered at the Palace against Marconi in that 1-0 victory. Well-timed sliding challenge there from Taylor, just as it looked like it was going to break kindly. Instead, it breaks kindly up the other end for De Lima. Looking to get at his defender here, James Letter. De Lima, good tenacity. Letter as well. Final touch off the Raiders, James Letter, and behind for another Mariners corner. Again, it's Jablonski and Rose standing over it. We have seen many variations, but this won't be one of them. Jablonski back stick delivery. Figueroa again gets two very good fists to it this time. Brantman on the edge of the area. Back heel to Eames. They converged around him ever so quickly. Hayne Eames. Max Miller will send it long into the afternoon sky. Figueroa will rise to pluck it out of the afternoon sky here in Moorebank. Now it's the Raiders' turn to play a bit of keep ball. You may have heard through the effects mics the advice of easy lesser. Just playing back, retaining possession, trying to push and probe and find a hole, pick a gap. They may have done just that here. Rag. Smart ball for Knezovic. Rag has continued his run forward into the area. Taylor just got body position just in time. Now Eames, now to Lima. Letter coming forward to effect the challenge on Arthur De Lima. A few little afters as well between De Lima and Letter. Keep your eye on that one as this match progresses. Hoisted back into play by Miller. Flicked on this time by De Lima. Helped forward again by Taylor. Riles may have stolen a march on Bevan here. He has indeed. Brantman now is offside. Well, the sun may be setting, the temperature may be dropping, but a bit of spice out there to heat things up perhaps. As we said, we just see the sun now dipping below the tree line. Eventually it will disappear beyond the horizon here in Moorebank. It's great setup here at Ernie Smith Field, of course a synthetic in absolutely pristine condition, as one would perhaps expect. McGrath sends it forward to Marcic. Lee. Flooding forward in numbers here, but Taylor dropping back diligently. Eames this time looking to show off his range of passing, giving De Lima something to chase, but just ran away from Arthur De Lima there. This is Hannigan. Again, just looking to hoist it into the area. Right on the penalty spot there, and that's Joel Wade territory. Knezovic it was, who himself has been very busy, buzzing around and trying to create some havoc, create some headaches. Here's Miller for the Mariners. Paragali now spreading wide to receive the return pass. And they'll go all the way back to Wade. Again, it's Knezovic applying the press. Paragali's pass was left a little short of Brantman. Marcic now. Lee again combining with Marcic. Thinks about the strike and does put his foot through it, but just drags it. Under a fair bit of pressure there. Yellow shirts converging on him quickly. Well, we did say atop the broadcast we expected some pretty high tempo, high octane stuff, particularly from the Raiders' quarters. This one living up to the billing in the opening exchanges here. Paragali carrying it forward on this near touch line, but it's Cox Barlow who steals it off the Mariners' skipper. Knezovic just held on to it for a fraction of a second too long. Brantman steals in. Riles brings it down for Rose, and he'll get the return pass as well here, Harper Riles. Doesn't have the beating of Bevan, though. And then in his over-eagerness to win the ball back, just a little tug of the jersey of Ethan Bevan as well. Easy free kick for the referee to give, really. Knezovic. Had Rag as the option hugging this near touchline. Goes the other way, though, for Cox Barlow. And again, it's Marcic bursting into the area. Wade saves initially. And Taylor forced to clean up. They look so good getting forward, the Raiders, playing with a great deal of verticality. Attacking intent absolutely well and truly on display from Goran Laboya's side. Had a good conversation with him pre-game about possession and pointless possession versus purposeful possession and verticality, of course. It's Rose now up the other end looking to inject a bit of just that. Matthew Lee saw him all the way, and behind it goes for a Mariners corner. And just on Goran Laboya, of course, an absolute stalwart of the club. He was actually a player when these two sides faced off all the way back in 2020 for the Raiders. As Rose sweeps this one in, and Figueira rising highest and eager to get things back on the move, giving Knezovic something to chase. Has Max Miller for company. Miller able to just prod it into touch. Lee. They want to slow it down a bit here now, perhaps the Raiders. Letter helps it forward, though. They will sweep the cross in towards, again, Cox Barlow. Knezovic will pick up the scraps. Hoisted back into play towards Knezovic. Wade has missed it! Mutakoi, maybe, has he hooked it clear? The goal is given! The Raiders hit the front! Protest though they might! There's no doubt in the eyes of the Lions person and the referee, who are both in a very good spot to see it. And it's a rare mistake from Joel Wade, which sees Luka Knezovic. In fact, my apologies, that's Riley Cox Barlow. Who nods home into an empty net. Mutakoi desperately trying to hook it off the line, but all in vain in the end. And it's a deserved lead for the Raiders. Well, the fans sound their appreciation here. As well they might. It is Riley Cox Barlow's goal that separates the sides. Just getting a look at the replay on the monitor, it was a bit chaotic in the penalty area there. Wade, as we said, just grasping at thin air really, and that will well and truly buoy the spirits of the Raiders here. McGrath. Knezovic now. Eames gets a very good foot in and emerges clear with it and slaloms through a couple. Just trying to force a pass though there, Hayne Eames, and the Raiders again look to break at breakneck speed. Again, it was Cox Barlow streaming forward centrally. Wade was alert to us and off his line quickly. Well, that's goal number 10 of the season in all competitions for Riley Cox Barlow, and that could potentially prove to be the most important one of all, perhaps. Four in his last 5 outings as well, if you don't mind. As Rose is offsides. And just on that goal for Riley Cox Barlow, as well as we said, 4 in his last 5 outings, including today. 3 of those have now come against academy sides. Of course, on the score sheets against the Jets in that 2-1 victory for the Raiders. On the score sheets against the Bulls in that 3-1 victory for the Raiders. And now the difference here at Ernie Smith between the Raiders and the Mariners. Here's Rag. Acres of space to move into here, Charlie Rag. This is Knezovic. It's Everett. And then back with Lee, who looks to change the avenue of attack out to the right-hand side. Mariners able to deal with it on the edge of their own penalty area. And now it's Arthur DeLima who bustles through 1, 2 and 3 challenges before looking to slide one in between the two centre halves for Riles. Marshalled very effectively, though, by Letta. Now it's Cox Barlow again giving chase, and Wade has a real puzzle to figure out. He gets his head to it first, but only able to find Knezovic. Paragali forced to concede the free kick, and he'll find his way into the referee's notebook as a result as well.
I don't know. It's disgusting. I'd make the same call too.
And Southern District Raiders now with another opportunity. It was a wonderful teasing sort of ball forward again for Cox Barlow, who's giving the Mariners defenders no end of headaches this afternoon. Charlie Ragg standing over the free kick, and I wonder if perhaps just like Knezovic before him, he may look to go the direct route, will he? Angled in towards the back stick and repelled initially before Jablonski completes the clearance. No one forward for the Mariners, though. Everyone was back defending the set piece, knowing all too well they can't afford perhaps to concede a second. Still very early in the piece, of course, though, as Mutakoyi able to bring it on down out of the sky. Taylor. Well, an uncharacteristically loose pass from Lawrence Taylor there. Cox Barlow it was who stole in, and he gets the return passes here as well here. Cox Barlow spreads it wide to Hannigan, who was offside. Well, if you are just joining us on the Football New South Wales YouTube channels, of course, for this Leg 1 promotion relegation playoff between the Southern District Raiders and the Mariners. It is, as you'll see, the Raiders leading, courtesy of Riley Cox Barlow. And they've looked very good value for their lead indeed. They've had the Mariners penned back into their own half for the opening 27 or so minutes here at Ernie Smith. And they're just a joy to watch when they get into full flight as well. Mutakoyi it is for the Mariners. Able to carry it forward under relatively little pressure. Brantman couldn't quite bring it under his spell though. Well, the flag is up in any case, putting paid to any potential further danger brewing. Brantman dropping deep to try and get some time on the football here. Wade now will clip it forwards. Riles racing after it. Smartly defended though by Ragg, just nodding it back to his gloveman. Who hasn't really been tested all too much so far in this one, Michael Figueira. Forced to punch a couple of corners clear, but other than that, the Mariners haven't really had a sight on goal. Well, that's emphatically sent upfield by Ragg in the direction of Cox Barlow, who nods it on looking for Knezovic. Paragali inserting himself between Knezovic and the ball. Good piece of defending that from the Mariners skipper. Well, Matthew Lee's having a couple of words to the referee. He's taken a couple of words from his teammates to calm him down there. I'm not too sure what the dispute was over. It's Paragali again, looking to send it forward on this near touch line. Comfortable piece of defending again from Lesser. Eames has Knezovic in his back, retains it. A couple of little afters there between Eames and Knezovic as well. Rose on the far touch line now for the Central Coast Mariners. Has Lee for company. Here's Brantman. He's found a couple of yards of space here. Looks to link up with Miller. First time delivery towards a penalty spot is easily cleared, but Eames will pick up the second ball. Brantman. DeLima now. DeLima able to free his feet enough to get the strike away, and if my notes are correct, that's the first real sort of shot in anger or shot on target for the Central Coast Mariners. It's Figueroa has been forced to stop. We saw, of course, throughout the course of 2024 how staunch the Raiders were defensively, of course. They were at times accused of perhaps not being the best at converting their chances throughout the course of the last campaign, but they certainly righted that ship this season. As we said, finishing with the second best defensive record in the league, but also always such a threat every time they're on the ball. So many players who are so capable of making things happen. A side which has risen rapidly up the ranks of the Football New South Wales League system over the last number of years. Looking to reach the summit. And looking good value to do so as well. As it's swept out, it's behind Knezovic, but he's just slipped in any case. Rolling into touch. Here's DeLima. Choosing to retain it. So all the way back to Paragali. Wade. And DeLima's absolutely screaming for us on this near touch line from his gloveman. DeLima looks to invert, and Wade will send it forward into the channel for DeLima. It's Miller now. Has support in the form of Eames. Now Brantman drifting wide. And now looking to invert. Miller in support, and they're forced back to halfway, and again it's that staunch defensive setup from the Raiders that are proving ever so difficult for the Central Coast to find any sort of opening. Taylor. Paragali now. Towards Miller, who will use the full width and length of the field to sweep in his cross. Repelled, but only as far as Eames. As Marcic in his back. Back with Paragali. Jablonski. Taylor. Taylor will strike. Blocked off once again. And emphatically cleared over halfway. Paragali, I fancy, will just watch this into touch. He does. Not without a good little touch on the way through from Cox Barlow. There is a Mariners player down in back play, mind you, as well. And it is Hayne Eames who's down on halfway, and the physio being waved on. And this is not good news, not just for the Mariners Academy side, but also, of course, for their A-League side. Hayne Eames was such an integral part of the Mariners A-League setup throughout the 24-25 campaign, his absolute breakout season. Looks like he's just getting some attention in the small of his back there, or perhaps his hip. He did seem to give a thumbs up, though, a little bit earlier, so perhaps really nothing to it. He is back up and about now and seemingly moving freely enough. He will have to, of course, leave the field of play, though, so the Mariners will be temporarily at least reduced to 10. Max Miller to resume hostilities. Brantman's a wall pass. As Eames returns to the field of play, and the Mariners return to their full complement. Well, this promotion-relegation playoff, not unfamiliar territory perhaps for the Central Coast Mariners. Of course, it was through this route where they maintained their status in the top flight for last season. As DeLima it is on that far touchline now. As he and Jai Rose look to have switched flanks. Jablonski to sweep in the cross. Rose to chase it back down. Miller. Eames. Jablonski now striding forward. Apologies, Mutakui striding forward from the heart of defence, as he so often does. But again, all avenues blocked off. The Mariners back on halfway. Paragali moves it forward. Brantman now. Everyone except Cox Barlow behind the ball for the Raiders at the moment. Blocking off all the passing lanes. Brantman. Paragali. And again, all the way back to Wade. This is Jablonski. Back to Mutakui. It's the Mariners' turn this time to try and be a bit more patient in possession. They'll have to be. So well drilled are this Raiders side. Here's Miller. Taylor. Well, again, another loose pass from Lawrence Taylor. We're not used to seeing that as Marchich pulls the trigger, spotting Wade off his line perhaps, but didn't quite get underneath the ball enough to pose any real sort of threat on Joel Wade's goal. DeLima. Paragali. In the direction of Brantman. It was Letter again. First on scene. Here's Miller. All the way back to Paragali. Again, there's just nothing in terms of an option going forwards. No holes appearing. As we said, the Raiders so good at just occupying all the passing lanes. Brantman might have found himself in a bit of an opening here, though. He takes it all the way to the byline. Still going here, Brantman. Pulled across the face of goal. And it's just too far ahead of Jai Rose or Arthur DeLima to make any sort of contact. It just needed a touch. Really fizzed across the face there from Brantman. And well, that's just about as close as the away side have come in this one. Mutakui. Into the channel it goes again in the direction of Riles. The flag was up though. And back four of the Raiders all stepping up in unison. The restart is swept out to the near touchline. Rag rising to nod it down towards Knezovic, but it's Taylor stepping in to take control. Now, Rose. Slide rule pass ahead of Brantman. He had McGrath coming across the company. Tried to skip inside Lachlan McGrath. But McGrath able to win it off the toe of Brantman. Into touch it goes on this near touchline. Brantman, all the way back to his captain, Paragalli. Brantman again. And once again, all the way back to Mutakui. Now trying to stretch the Raiders out of shape here now. Jablonski, Eames. Paragalli coming forward. Miller. Again, it's Paragalli. Assessing the options in front. Unhappy with what was presented to him. Back to Eames. Now, Miller. First time ball for Brantman. Smart back heel as well to link up with Miller, but Rag just inserts himself between Miller and the ball. His clearance, though, was straight into the legs of Brantman, who couldn't quite bring it under his spell. And you can hear just what the Raiders fans right in line with that. Think about that, showing their appreciation. They've frustrated the Mariners at just about every turn so far in this one. Here's Rag again. Good first touch, even better second perhaps to link up with Knezovic. Well, that's a very smart piece of defending there from Paragalli. And then Lee, just a little too over-eager in his attempts to win it off the toe of Eames. Or perhaps it was for the first infringement. It was indeed. Mutakui it is now. Eames. Well, they've turned it over on halfway again, the Mariners. It's Cox Barlow, the goal scorer. Couldn't quite link up with Everett. Brantman able to steal in. Sliding into great effect there is Hannigan. McGrath again. Blocked off and into touch on the far touch line now. Hannigan. Across the back they'll go here, the Raiders. Letter. Knezovic is the wall pass, and forward it will come towards Rag and Cox Barlow. Mutakui just hooks it over his shoulder, but it's really straight up in the air. Paragalli, good strength again. And now looks to release Brantman. McGrath will get there first comfortably. Figueroa in no mood to play out, sends it long. Paragalli rising above Knezovic, and great feet from Eames now. Brantman, slide rule pass is too far ahead of Harper Riles though. Well, that's better from the Central Coast. Just increasing the tempo a little bit, trying to play forward more quickly. Letter has Rose for company. Goes all the way back, trusting his goalkeeper's footwork. Figueroa will open up the other side of the field now. Macic. Knezovic. Nearly leaving it behind, but able to regain his composure as Macic will strike. And you can see what he's trying to do there, just trying to wrap his boot around it and pick out that top corner, but didn't wrap his boot around it anywhere near enough. As we tick into added time here at Ernie Smith in this first leg of the Pro-Rel playoff between the Southern District Raiders and the Central Coast Mariners. Just the one goal in it. Brantman looking to make something happen late in the piece here. It's DeLima. Still going DeLima! Oh, it's delightful! It's absolutely sensational from Arthur DeLima. With one of the last kicks of the half. Here at Ernie Smith, Arthur DeLima has pulled one out of his ever-growing bag of tricks. We've seen him score some absolutely spectacular goals over the last couple of years, and I fancy that may well just about be the pick of the bunch. That is simply superlative. It's Arthur DeLima. It's absolutely delicious. Cox Barlow up the other end, though. Southern District Raiders looking to go straight up the other end and make the Mariners pay. They do say the most dangerous time to concede is just after you've scored. But we go to the sheds at the interval. All level. Here is Ernie Smith between the Raiders and the Mariners. Riley Cox Barlow nodded the Raiders ahead. And they held the lead. A deserved lead as well for much of the half. But Arthur DeLima back in the side and back on the score sheet. Leaving this one oh so finely poised ahead of the second half here at Ernie Smith. At the break, it's the Southern District Raiders 1, Central Coast Mariners 1. We're off for a short break here in Moorebank, but don't go away. Make sure that you do join us for the second half in about 15 or so minutes' time.
I'll be at the gate. Sorry. That's right. I bought it across because I didn't have a table.
A very, very warm welcome indeed back to Ernie Smith Reserve here in Moorebank for the second half of leg one of the promotion relegation playoff between the Southern District Raiders and the Central Coast Mariners. Mariners to get us underway for the second half, kicking from right to left on your screens. So finally poised at the interval, of course, this one. One apiece at half-time as Knezovic on the attack immediately for the Raiders. Slides one into the on-rushing number 18 there in Charlie Ragg. Who draws a good save once again out of Joel Wade. Not the first time he's been called upon in this one. And the Mariners on the back foot almost immediately from kickoff here. Corner swung in near post. Marcic gets his head to it first. You can see the intent from Michael Marcic, but just nodding it behind in the end. Of course, it was Riley Cox-Barlow's goal that nodded the Raiders into the lead here. They were pegged back by an absolute piece of brilliance from Arthur De Lima right at the end of the first half. And that's the tale of the tape so far in this one. Bevan, well, couldn't quite bring it into his spell or under his spell. And the Mariners now have possession back on this near touch line. Mutakui just lets it run, opens up his body and links up with his centre-half partner there in Paragali. Eanes. Near touch line is Jablonski, who'd stayed forward. Good ball to link up with De Lima here. He's one-on-one with Marcic, swings in the cross towards the back post. And the Mariners hit the front for the first time tonight. De Lima, the architect, turning provider this time. And Bailey Brandman slotting it home with aplomb. The two A-League products combine to devastating effect. And not for the first time this season as well, Arthur De Lima and Bailey Brandman linking up. And in the blink of an eye, the Mariners find themselves a goal to the good. Well done from Hannigan to link up with Marcic, who sweeps it forwards. It's a long way ahead of Cox-Barlow, though, and all the way to the feet of the Mariners gloveman there in Joel Wade, who, as he so often does, invites the press from Cox-Barlow before stooping to pluck it off the deck. Here's Miller for the Mariners. Well, they've turned it over cheaply inside their own half, and Knezovic now bearing down on goal. Was forced wider than he may have hoped. That allows Miller to link up with Rose. They can't keep their foot on the ball here, though, the Mariners. It's Lee. All the way back to Bevan, who will carry it forward from the heart of defence himself this time. Now Hannigan. Bevan again. Lee. Little triangles forming again for the Raiders. It takes a touch off Taylor, or perhaps De Lima on the way through. Bevan now. I'll just go back and reload here through McGrath and Everett. Bevan wants this on this near touch line, and he will receive it. Turned around the corner there by Marcic. Hannigan couldn't quite skip his way inside of Jablonski. Now De Lima emerging with it. Brantman. Jablonski and now Riles. Good first touch as well to take it on the turn, but couldn't quite stick the pass inside for Bailey Brantman. It's being played at a rate of knots here. As we did posit atop the broadcast as well, we did expect really high-octane stuff. We know how much of a joy the Raiders are to watch when they get into full flight as well. That was the story for much of the first half. Wave after wave of attack from the Raiders. The Mariners finally able to find the key to unlock the door. That key was provided by Arthur De Lima in a simple return provider for the second, which was slotted home, cool as you like, by Bailey Brantman. And I could just about hear the cheers coming down from Queensland when Brantman slotted the Mariners' second. Of course, his Auntie Suze and Uncle John watching on the Football New South Wales YouTube this evening, supporting from afar. Very warm welcome to them, of course, as Hannigan looks to switch the point of attack out to the left, and it's a very good-looking ball indeed, you know. The Raiders blocked off this time by Max Miller. Hannigan has a quick look up and then drives it forward towards Marcic. It's comfortably dealt with by Jablonski, who nods it down towards Taylor. Miller just holds it up. Plays back to the feet, or rolls it back to the feet of his captain there, Michael Paragalli. Now it's Mutakoi. Jablonski hugging this near touchline. Immediately Hannigan stepping forward, allowing Jablonski to dig it over the top towards De Lima. It was a good-looking first touch, but his second touch allowing the defender to seal in. And, well, there's a few little afters here as De Lima perhaps just look to delay the restart. Hannigan will eventually place the ball and try and sweep it out again to the far touchline. Knezovic will feed off the scraps. Well, that's an uncharacteristic loose pass now, and Taylor's able to steal in, seizing on the opportunity. De Lima with the slide rule ball into the path of Harper Riles. Smart little back heel to link up with Jablonski. His first time cross is initially blocked. Figueira isn't able to figure out the puzzle. He spills it initially, but then gratefully able to plunge on the ball with Arthur De Lima looming large. Just about got away with one there, did the Raiders custodian. Mutakoi now for the Mariners. Jablonski. It's Marcic and Cox Barlow again applying the press and inviting their teammates to join them. The Mariners dig it clear, and Hayne Eames with a bit of a juggling act here. His final touch, though, is an illegal one. Well, first academy appearance of the season for Hayne Eames, coming at a pretty crucial juncture here in this promotion relegation playoff. As we said, was so crucial to the Mariners A-League and, of course, their AFC Champions League tilt this year. Breakout season for young Hayne Eames, who has been quoted as saying that he models his game off another former Mariner and Mariners Academy graduate, and latest Socceroo, of course, Maxi Ballard, who was on the score sheets 2 minutes after coming on for his first ever appearance for the Socceroos last night down in our nation's capital, of course. That's really what the Mariners Academy pathway is about, developing the next crop of stars. Stars that are going to have some defending to do here as the free kick is struck true. Wade with some good positional sense there and smartly scurrying across his line before clutching it into his chest. Now swept forward once again. It's Riles. Looks to pull it in towards a penalty spot where Brantman was arriving. I'll get my words out eventually. Here is De Lima now looking to shimmy inside. Eames. And Miller and Rose. Brantman. Paragali. Jablonski really wants it on this near touchline, I can tell you that. You may be able to hear his calls through the effects mic. Instead they go the other way. Eames it is again. Paragali does well to get it out from under his feet. Takes himself away from the challenge of Cox Barlow and link up with Mutakui. De Lima sliding to try and keep it in play just in front of our broadcast position here. And Michael Macic, I think, has stolen a couple of yards too many perhaps for the referee's liking from the resultant throw-in. I think the throw-in was perhaps taken from the same position in any case in the end, eventually by Hannigan. Going backwards though perhaps, which sees it in his favour. Now, the Raiders, it's their turn to be patient in possession. What can they find in their build-up here? Bevan. Lee. Can't escape the attention of Bally Brantman. And what about the feet from Brantman as well to take him away from the challenge of Letta? He's such a wonderful technical player is Bally Brantman. As Jablonski looks to nod that one on. It's just a little too far ahead of De Lima. Hannigan to hoist it back into play. Bevan was closed down by Riles initially. They get away with it though. It's Everett. On that far touchline, it's Letta. Streaming forward here is Charlie Ragg, who pulls it into the area. Wade spills initially, gets there at the second bite. As well as a few afters here as well. It's all turning a little bit nasty in the 6-yard box. Wade and Gnezovic going at it. Wade has dropped to the deck. They weren't happy about the follow-through after Wade had spilt the initial effort. It was Knezovic who tried to put his foot through the ball. Wade had only just really brought it back into his grasp, and the referee's got a bit of figuring out to do here. Mariners players were quickly in to defend their glovemen. The Raiders players were quickly forwards. Well, we're going to see a couple of yellow cards brandished here. One in the direction of Joel Wade, of course, the Mariners gloveman. The other one looked like it initially went in the direction of Michael Paragali, but he is already on a yellow. It certainly wasn't him, and I fancy he wasn't really all too involved as an aggressor there. I heard Cooper Hannigan running back just in front of us here saying, I'm happy to copy yellow, so I'm wondering if perhaps the card that was brandished towards the Raiders was in his direction, although it was Knezovic who was much more the aggressor overall. We'll try and bring you confirmation on that as and when we can. No shortage of feeling in this one here in Moorebank. So much on the line for both of these sides as Bevan strides forwards. Over halfway. Taylor picks it out though. Eames. Good looking release to find DeLima. First touch allows him to skip inside here, DeLima, and he's still going as well before he's hauled to the deck. Just about on the junction of the byline and the 18-yard box. Well, while we wait for the free kick, I wonder if the Lions person on this near touchline can give me any indication as to who it was for the Raiders that got booked. It was indeed Knezovic. Confirmation of that from our match official. Bit of a cheeky ask from the commentator perhaps, but if you don't buy a ticket... And the Mariners now looking to buy their own ticket. And ticket to status in the top flight for 2026. Towards the edge of the area and then swept in by Jablonski towards the back post. Repelled and hooked clear. Eames giving chase. Final touch off Cox Barlow. We did say, of course, not unfamiliar territory, this Pro-Rel playoff for the Central Coast side, who had to navigate and traverse these waters last season. First leg, they fell 2-1. Of course, their opponents were Bulls FC Academy, but they returned for the second leg at Pluim Park. A refreshed, rejuvenated side. They've seemingly emerged from the break here rejuvenated as well. Mind you, how's the pace here from Hannigan, who burns around the outside of 1, 2 and 3, and it's Paragali coming across to affect the challenge. And that's a nasty looking one from Hannigan, who's found his way into the referee's notebook for the second time this evening. And the Raiders are reduced to 10. Well, getting a look at the replay on the monitor there, it was late and high. He's gone in over the ball there. Cooper Hannigan. And you simply can't go in over the ball, particularly in the modern game. Process though they might, the Raiders will be forced to see out the final 27 or so minutes here at Ernie Smith. With just 10, Michael Paragali still down receiving some treatment amidst all this. It was certainly a full-blooded challenge from Cooper Hannigan. And Paragali just getting a bit of the magic spray.
Get away with it, the yellow.
Here's Rose now for the Central Coast. I fancy Goran Luboya's side now maybe forced into a bit of a rethink in terms of personnel, of course, particularly. Hannigan, who'd been an integral part of everything the Raiders have offered today, the 26-year-old, of course. But he'll take no further part in this one. And it's an uphill battle now for the Southern District side. As Brantman looks to nod it on towards Riles. Everett emerging with it, though, and that's a handy-looking ball towards Cox Barlow. Just a heavy first touch, though, which took him away. And yes, Goran Luboya indeed will be forced into a change here. Maybe a double change, in fact, Charlie Ragg and Matthew Lee to take their leave. Or is it a triple change as well? James Letter, it looks like, has made his way across to the bench, has he? Or we'll bring you confirmation on these changes in just a moment when we can, of course. One of those is, as we just wait to see how this plays out first, Riles into the channel. Looking to burst into the box there. It's good one-on-one defending from Lockie McGrath. Jonathan Sabatu, one of those into the action. Variation on the corner that time between Jablonski and Rose. Good looking sliding challenge as well, affected on Jablonski, but into touch it goes. Mariners throw as Jablonski looks to work those levers and hoist it into the area. Sliding challenge there from Sabatu. We'll see, it's over the byline. Another Mariners corner. Rose this time sends Jablonski away. Rose will look to swing this one in centrally. Repelled off the edge of the 6-yard box, and the Raiders will look to break. Miller it is, though, who steps in there ahead of Knezovic. And fires it over the near touchline. The Mariners might just look to try and box in the Raiders here. Sabatu hoists it back in. Jablonski rises. Mutakui links up with Rose. Just tried to force the pass, though, did Rose. Now Cox Barlow giving Knezovic some room to work with wide. He'll look for the return pass as well here, Cox Barlow. Paragali across quickly, playing covering defender. Sebastian Malfara was one of the other ones introduced just a moment ago for the Raiders. Here he is on the ball. Well, after such a bright opening, 45 minutes for the Raiders, they find themselves chasing this one. A goal down and a man down, but it's Sabatu looking to change that as he drives it into the area. Sent behind by Mutakui. They'll have to make these sorts of set-piece situations absolutely well and truly count here, the Raiders. Charlie Ragg across to take. He'll look to swing this one away. Sabatu was an awkward sort of height for the fullback who fired one goalwards, but didn't quite get the direction. It was on top of him before he knew it, really, and the Mariners now will look to go to the bench themselves. Lucas Valela looking to inject some fresh energy here, perhaps looking to put the screws to the Raiders. Dry Rose withdrawn, as is Hayne Eames. Jordan Small into the action. He's a like-for-like swap there for Hayne Eames, really. It looks like Logan Sambrook was the other one introduced, so fairly well a like-for-like change for Jai Rose there as well. Sambrook capable of operating in the wide spaces, also capable of operating centrally. Wade sends it long into the evening sky. Sabatu brings it down under no real sort of pressure. Macic and back with Bevan. We can see as well the synthetic surface here as the temperature plummets following the departure of the sun. Just getting a little bit slippy out there. Knezovic, who's been so heavily involved this evening. Knezovic doesn't have a goal to show for it. So busy, so lively. Such a threat. Sabatu wants it on this near touchline. Has found himself free in acres of space as well. Centrally it goes though. Macic. Swung in towards Macic again. It's Paragali there. Gets his foot to it first and sends it over the far touchline. Small rising above Cox Barlow, and then Paragali rising above Knezovic. Rag, well, sends it forward, but it's a little bit aimless, perhaps just to relieve the pressure, if nothing else, there from Charlie Rag. Lucas Vallela also has options on the bench if he does want to change things up going forward. Meanwhile, going forward are the Raiders. Striking from the edge of the area! Oh, my words! Sebastian Malfara! That is superb! Wade was at full stretch, but there was nothing he could do about the purity of the strike. And just like that, the Raiders find themselves level. Down to 10, backs against the wall. It was seemingly stacked against them, but Sebastian Malfara off the bench and onto the score sheet. Meanwhile, De Lima will strike from the edge of the area, but didn't get the sort of purchase required on it. Just dragging his effort wide, De Lima. Well, we have been treated to two absolutely superb goals, one from each side this evening. Of course, the score is 2 apiece. But that goal in the first half from Arthur De Lima just about equalled by Malfara's wonder strike. It's the Mariners on the march up the other end though now. These sides now trading punch and counter punch. Just his second goal of the season as well for Malfara. His only other goal also came against an academy side in the Bulls FC Academy. Sabatu's forcing De Lima a long way back, and Mutakui's played his way into a bit of trouble there. Jordan Small coming back to effect the challenge, and for the Mariners it's lucky he did. And then Sabatu is brought down by Small. Well, you can perhaps hear what the Raiders fans think about that. Of course, they'll be feeling a little aggrieved following the earlier red cards. To Cooper Hannigan, but they've certainly got their tails up here now, the Raiders. Malfara it will be to curl this one in centrally. It's chaos. It's pinballing around everywhere in the 6-yard box. The Mariners able to dig it clear in the end and to the relative safety of the byline, or the touchline, I should say. Well, final touch, in fact, is off Luka Knezovic. About 15 or so minutes to go here at Ernie Smith. Where to from here? A game which is well and truly sprung into life in this second half. And shows no real sign of slowing up. Cox Barlow there, ensuring the free kick is placed just so. It's Paragali giving Sandbrook something to chase. Nodded on by Everett. There was a tussle on the far touchline as well between Knezovic and Max Miller. Max Miller wins it and then has his legs taken away by Knezovic, who will have to be careful because he is himself on a yellow card, of course. He may be well advised just to leave the scene of the crime as quickly as possible. He's going to get a talking to, which puts paid to any idea of that. And yellow card is brandished. Now, we were informed by the Lions person earlier that Knezovic was already on a yellow card. Perhaps we were misinformed. Meanwhile, there is a Mariners player down receiving treatment. Max Miller, of course, following the challenge from Knezovic, which gives Bailey Brantman an opportunity to just make his way across to the bench, take some water on and some instruction as well from head coach Lucas Villela. Well, that will indeed be the final action in any case from Luka Knezovic, who's not too happy as he makes his way across to the bench there as well. Goran Luboya ringing the changes in the latter knockings of this one. It's so finely poised. So much at stake, of course. It may be a bridge too far for Max Miller to continue as well, as he's made his way towards the Mariners bench. And the Mariners will, at least for now, be reduced to 10 while they arrange a substitute or replacement for Miller. So 10 apiece for the time being. Here's Small. Brantman, inventive little flick towards DeLima! Blocked initially by Figueroa. And he can't quite claim it. It's again chaos on the edge of the area, and then Jordan Small causing some more chaos. It's a little bit reckless, perhaps. The challenge there from Jordan Small. It's turning into a bit of a card-a-thon here as well at Ernie Smith. Jordan Small, the latest aggressor, the latest recipient. And it's a fairly cut and dried one to give as well. It looks like the Mariners have made that change now as well. As we said, Max Miller withdrawn, unable to continue. Angus Reid into the action, and Noah Peacock has also just been introduced now as well. It's Marcic. Still going here, Marcic. Back to goal, able to twist and fire it in. Mutakoyi able to reel it in and then hook it clear. So Harper Riles withdrawn. Noah Peacock will take his place up top and immediately look to try and press and squeeze Bevan there. Reid rising to meet it. Now Small. Gets it back here, Small. DeLima just turns it around the corner again for Small, who holds it up and finds support in Jablonski. Mariners happy now to play keep ball. Mutsukui, Paragali. Reid on that far touchline. Jablonski now. Looks to clip it forward, but didn't quite get the direction required there. Harry Jablonski. It was Jordan Small who'd made that darting sort of run on the near touch line. Jablonski just unable to keep it in the field of play. Sabatu, it will be to hoist it back in. Masic didn't quite make contact with it. Sabatu hooks it back in. Throws it back in, I should say. Bevan helps it on to McGrath. Bevan again, driving one forward. Marcic. Sugiura looking for the back heel. Brought down, referee gives a free kick the other way. Booked for simulation. Here's Riley Cox-Barlow. Well, we're just waiting to see if we can get a replay on the monitors here. Cox-Barlow, well, it did look like the correct decision from the referee. Match commissioner next to me seemingly in agreement as well, so I'm glad we're all on the same page. Well spotted from the man in the middle this evening. Tensions are so high here in Moorebank. This one absolutely perched on a knife edge as Jablonski rises, towers above all and sundry to meet it. Sambrook, though, is blocked off by Malfara, who scored that absolute wonder strike earlier in the half to restore parity. Cox-Barlow trying to wriggle through. It's DeLima now who's switched flanks again. Slipped into the channel towards Peacock, who will give chase, but all in vain. Just going a little too early there. Now there's another Mariners player down in back play as well, meanwhile. And amidst all the chaos, we did miss the introduction of Yuto Sugiura. Of course, the Japanese-Australian number 9. Back underway here at Ernie Smith. Jablonski for the Mariners. Forced back to Mutakoyi. Sugiura giving chase. Keeping Wade honest, and we see it so often. Wade there, cool as you like. Malfara, good strength initially, but not strong enough to take him away from Small. Brantman, Malfara showing good tenacity to win it back off the toe of Brantman. And then Peacock with a little tug on the arm of Mihail Marcic as he looked to shimmy his way free centrally. It's DeLima twisting and turning, finding support eventually. Wade copping some friendly advice from those Raiders fans behind the goal. They've turned it over cheaply, though, the Central Coast. Straight to the feet of Everett, but he can't retain it. Wade will send it long into the evening sky. Brantman it is to try and pull it down. Cox-Barlow's gone down in a heap in the centre circle as well. He's still down here, and the referee will come back just to check on the welfare of Riley Cox-Barlow. It was his head, of course, that nodded the Raiders in front in the first half. Pegged back by a simply sublime bit of skill by Arthur DeLima, who himself turned provider. Teeing up Bailey Brantman for the Mariners' second. Before Malfara off the bench and onto the score sheet. In some style as well. Restoring parity and leaving this one so finely poised. Well, don't forget, of course, plenty more action to come your way this weekend on behalf of Football New South Wales, and particularly the NPL men's first grade competition. Semi-final time tomorrow. Lambert Park will host the Derby d'Italia between Apia and Marconi before 2025 premiers Spirit FC host Rockdale in the other semi-final at Christie Park. All matches broadcast live and free thanks to Football New South Wales YouTube. We look forward to taking you through the rest of the weekend's action as it unfolds. It's McGrath happy to watch it into touch and have the throw in for his side. Hoisted in towards Sugiura. The Mariners pick it back up centrally though. They'll just go back and reload now. Paragali. Mutakui. Hugging this near touch line again is Jablonski. Good first touch to take him inside, and now Small. DeLima wants it on this near touch line and will receive it. Had Sabatu right in his back though. DeLima is showing all the energy and endeavour that he showed from the first minutes here. Still chasing after everything, still screaming for every pass. Sugiura has Mutakui right in his back, and that looks like a Mariners throw. Well, in fact, final touch off Shumba Mutakui. And Lucas Valela will take the opportunity to go to his bench once more. Bailey Brantman takes his leave for the evening. A good introduction back to the NPL side for him. Back in the squad, back on the score sheet. Ahmed Elahelu enters the fray to lead the line for the final knockings of this one. Small nods it down to the feet of Arthur DeLima. Small carries it forward over halfway. Now Peacock. Pass was just left a little bit behind, but he's done well to fashion something out of it. It's Sambrook inverting. It's Small. What's cooking here? DeLima. Shifting onto his right. Still DeLima. Now Jablonski. First time cross. Flashing across the face. A couple of Mariners arriving late. El Helu and Peacock interested. At the ball from Arthur DeLima, it was a similar sort of position from which he provided the assist for Bailey Brantman's goal earlier in the half. No one there to meet it this time. Now the Raiders look to get forward quickly. Marcic it was giving chase. Paragali there first, and Cox-Barlow, I fancy, is perhaps offside here. No flag. Jordan Small emerges clear with it in any case. Turned around the corner intelligently there by El Helu. Now weaving his way forward is DeLima. Small and Jablonski. Jablonski's ball is all too close to Figueira. We're through the regulation 90 minutes here at Ernie Smith. This one's showing no real signs of just petering out. As you can perhaps tell from the crowd reaction there. Every challenge, every action met with a reaction. Now it's Reid on the far touchline. Cox Barlow watched him all the way. Paragali under pressure from Sugiura. Mutakui carries it over halfway. Everyone behind the ball except Sugiura for the Raiders at the moment. Perhaps one last chance here for the Mariners. De Lima! Brought down but waved away. And De Lima is absolutely apoplectic at the non-awarding there. It certainly looked correct from our vantage point. Here's Peacock. Just on a different wavelength to El Helu on that occasion. And the Raiders now looking to march forward themselves. Cox Barlow clipped it forward before the free kick is awarded to halt any further potential progress. Jablonski, it's end-to-end stuff in the final seconds of this one. The dying embers of this first leg. Of course, when full time goes, it's only really half time in this one, though. Of course, the second leg all to play for next week at Plume. It's Malfara. Just drives that one into touch. Now, absolutely everyone behind the ball for the Raiders. Nearly everyone forward for the Mariners. De Lima shifting back onto his right again. Small. Just bundled off it there, Jordan Small. And Malfara on the march against Mutakui. De Lima, where'd he come from? Not shirking his defensive duties at all, Arthur De Lima. What an engine. Mutakui, Small. Paragali. Jablonski wants it on this near touchline. Peacock just drifting between the lines there. Jablonski still wants it on this near touchline, I can tell you. They've got the overload on this near touchline if they can find him out here as well, as he's joined for company by De Lima. Instead, they'll just look to slow it down a little bit here. Jablonski. Now it's De Lima. Small. Just turns it over somewhat cheaply there, Jordan Small. It's easy for Sabatu, who now strides over halfway himself and looks to open up the pitch on the far touchline. They'll just opt to play keep ball here. The Raiders, Rag going all the way back to his gloveman, Figueira, who this time will look to launch it long towards Marcic. It's Jablonski rising, and now Greengrass ahead, available for De Lima to stride into, who beats 1 and 2, and then is brought down rather cynically by Malfara. On will play, advantage issued. Peacock turns it around the corner towards Jablonski, and a very good sliding challenge that time from Bevan, the former Mariner. Halting their advance, it's De Lima now though. Jablonski measuring the cross straight into the legs of Marcic. And that will not be that. Short spurt of the whistle from the referee, and I can tell you the lines person on this near touchline thought that may have been that as well. Not to be though. On we'll go. It is just a change for Goran Laboya's side. Lockie Everett withdrawn. He's got through a mountain of work today as well, has Lachlan Everett. And you can see the tired legs, but the warm reception as well, given by teammates and fans alike. Marcic hooks it clear. Mutakui back to Paragali. Carrying it forward here, Paragalli striking from a long way out, and perhaps not the most likely of contenders. He has scored a couple for himself this season, though. Michael Paragalli, of course, was instrumental in the Mariners' 4-2 victory against St George, coming back from the depths of despair in that one. Found themselves 2-0 down early on. As Figueira urged to get on with it, we can bring you confirmation on that most recent change, as well as Ham Donghua, who's been introduced for the final few seconds here. It's Bevan. Sends it into touch, and that will indeed be that here for the first leg of the promotion relegation playoff between Football New South Wales League One men's SD Raiders and the NPL New South Wales men's Central Coast Mariners. It's finished 2 apiece. Here, unable to separate these sides at the end of 90 minutes. But 90 minutes to play, perhaps even more, at Pluham next week on Friday evening. It was Riley Cox-Barlow who opened the scoring for the Raiders, nodding home from close range. They were pegged back so late in the first stanza by a piece of absolute brilliance from Arthur De Lima. The Mariners then went ahead. De Lima, turning provider for Bailey Brantman, to fire them into the lead. But Sebastian Malfara, it was to have the final say in proceedings here. The Raiders were reduced to 10 following a red card to Cooper Hannigan. But Malfara magic sees us level ahead of the second leg. As we said, plenty more action to come your way on the Football New South Wales channels this weekend, with Apia hosting Marconi and Spirit FC also hosting Rockdale in those semi-finals. The second leg between these two sides will be on the Central Coast next weekend, Friday night, under lights at Pluham at 7:30. But that's a wrap from all of us here. Until next time, from me, Pete Pryor, it's bye for now.